Hey everybody, welcome back. Alright, so let's look at parallel processing. So we got our mix here. It's pretty roughly mixed, but it's not bad. I'm starting to get a liking for where we're going with this rock mix here. So, sounding pretty good. We've got the guitar sounding nice. The vocals are sitting nicely in front of the vocal, in front of the guitars, and the guitars are sitting behind the vocal. So pretty good, and the drums are sounding quite nice and fat, at least the kick and the snare are. Still a little bit of a misbalance with the hats, perhaps they need to be a bit louder. Just a quick little one actually, because I got an email from one of our students which pointed out that when you're changing the volume of the mix, you don't have to grab this point here like I've been doing for literally years. You can literally just click the value and drag that up and down. It's much easier than trying to click this little block here. So thanks Ken for that. Can't believe I didn't know it, and I've been using Cubase for, I don't know, about 15 years now. So nice little trick just to be able to grab that, and I'll be using that a lot from now on. So let's look at parallel processing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this to the master, or the master channel, so it's got everything going through it. So we're going to set up another group, doesn't matter where, let's just go add track, group channel, stereo, that's fine. Mix parallel, probably spelled that wrong. There we go, and that's fine. Let's just unsolo our master. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to our master, set up a send, and we're going to send this through to our mix parallel. Activate it, and for now, let's just actually send the signal through. It's fine. Now we've sent the signal through. Now we're going to change this to a pre-send because we don't want the volume level to affect it. I just want to send this through to the parallel group. And for now, although we will be turning it back up, we are just going to turn the volume down of our master track. Now when I play it, we're still going to hear stuff because obviously it's being routed through our mix parallel group, because it's being sent through. So what we're going to do on this group is we're going to start adding some effects. So with parallel processing, there are many different ways you can go, and this is where you can really get creative. Okay, so I'm just going to give like a couple of examples, but you really can go completely nuts here and just try stuff that you might not normally try. So for starters, you can just sort of add much heavier compression if you want. So let's just go in and kind of destroy the mix with some super heavy compression. Let's see what we can do. So obviously it's making that sort of real super pumpy sound. May or may not be good, and in fact we can sort of tweak this a bit. If we only want it to sort of act on the high frequencies, we can dim the lows a bit. It's really bringing out the snap of the snare and kind of the punch of the kicks. They're probably the two loudest elements in there. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to turn this down, go back to our master, and in fact let's just set it up on the spectral comparison just so we can switch really quickly between the two. So I'm just going to set the other channel as our mix parallel group, and now I can just click on either to go into them. Nice and easy. And let's start with our master up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our mix parallel, and we're just going to bring this up. Now we're not going to want much of this, but we're just going to bring it in, mix it in gently, okay? So it just brings it up, mixes in a little bit of that squishiness, but it's not really that extreme. So let's go a bit further and let's actually delete that for a second, and let's add like distortion. Could use quadrifuzz, but I'm just going to experiment with amp rack. This is going to completely smash the sound though. So we could do something like this. We're just gonna, again, we'll start with it down. for example, you want a much dirtier mix, then you can do something like this. You could add distortion to the parallel group and just mix a bit of that in. Obviously, that's what it gives us. I quite like the mix as it is, but if you want to make it more dirty, which you certainly are welcome to do, and certainly is something that some producers will want, or some artists will want and can benefit the track to get the sound that they want, then obviously you can start adding distortion as a parallel insert. And of course, you can take it even further and add things like stereo enhancers. So we go to spatial panel, let's go to our stereo enhancer. Okay, so in this case, our amp rack is actually monoing the signal. Don't want that. So let's use a different distortion unit. Let's just use quadrafuzz then. And let's just go and slam it a bit. Okay, so that's fine for that. Let's just, obviously we're going to start with this right down, and we're going to go with the stereo enhancer as well, and we're going to make this as wide as we can. So you can hear it's just adding, and we are talking about mixing in tiny amounts of this. Obviously, you wouldn't be mixing in much. It's just going to completely mush up the whole track, the whole mix. But when mixing in small amounts of this sort of processing, you can actually have a really positive effect, depending, of course, on what it is that you want. And of course, don't forget that you can use the EQ to be more selective. So if it's adding way too much brightness to the mix, we can just sort of remove that. So a high pass sort of thing. So you could sort of just have it sort of adding the mid-range frequencies to the mix. Which is actually quite nice. So, okay, there we go. That's basically parallel processing. Now, like I say, you can add anything you want to this and really go for it. There's all sorts of things you can do. Just be creative, experiment a bit, and have some fun. All right, so that's it for parallel processing. Thank you very much for watching, guys and girls. I'll see you in the next one.